Today's video is brought to you by my stupidity, ladies and gentlemen. I am not a smart person, I am a very stupid individual.
Yesterday, in preparation to watch a video by Nicandros on stream, I took a quick look into who Mutahar is because I wasn't really familiar with him. As it turns out, he's a really interesting guy. Mutahar really likes to remind people that
YouTube isn't my job.
People scoff at this, but it's true. It's not his job. It's much more than that. It is the core of who he is and the foundation of his self-worth.
I'll be honest with you guys, I have a reason to live, really, and that's you all. Might sound grim, you might be like, what are you trying to say? No, that's the truth. I have a reason to really go on living, you know what I mean? Other than that, what else did I have forward to look to in my life? Future of a menial job and whatnot, just becoming the standard 9 to 5.
Being watched and adored by strangers on the internet is entwined with his mental health to a disturbing degree.
You're important to me, If I ever lost one subscriber, I feel heartbroken. If I do lose, I feel heartbroken because that's one person who used to like what I did, and they're gone.
He's wise not to say it so much anymore, as any normal person will find the sentiment quite sickening. But I think deep down, he still views his subscribers as literal family to him.
I'm not even kidding, I'd die for you. You all mean a lot to me. You have to realize that. Okay, this is a family to me. I treat you all as if you were my brothers and sisters, right? Like, that's how deep the connection is, at least for me. Alright? I know it sounds somewhat weird to people. It's like, why would you say that? No, it's the truth. Okay, I love you all.
Before you complain that the tidbits we'll be trolling through today are 10 years old, I'd like to remind you that that's still more recent than the pirate software-esque high school Nepo daycare Mutahar apparently still uses to big himself up as being a professional engineer with.
I was basically finishing up my, high school diploma and everything, and at the time, I worked a little computer programming job. I worked as a pen tester, you know what I mean? Like, I got into the whole thing early, I had a couple connections.
Or perhaps his claims of being an engineer come from the job he quit in 2013 to pursue film when he was 18 or 19, which is presumably the awful bank app programming job you may have heard him mention.
So, for me, I left that job. I left pen test, I left all that kind of stuff. I left a soulless career, and I jumped onto film and TV.
Then again, maybe none of this is where his claims of being an engineer come from, because back then, he called the career path that of a blue-collar computer programmer. Did you know that he didn't actually start calling himself specifically an engineer until over a year after he stopped studying to become one and started pursuing film instead? As far as I can tell from public record, it's only in 2015 that he switched from saying he was a programmer to saying he was an engineer. At first a dead-end computer engineer, but over time, somehow, for some reason, it morphed into a source of pride and, more importantly, credibility, and he clearly became very attached to the title.
I'm an engineer. I'm a fucking engineer. I'm a goddamn engineer. I'm an engineer. I'm a fucking engineer. I'm an engineer. I'm only an engineer. Oh, I'm an engineer. So I'm an engineer. I'm just an engineer. I'm an engineer. I'm just a fucking engineer. I'm a goddamn engineer. I'm a fucking engineer. I'm an engineer. I'm an engineer. As an engineer, being an engineer, I have to tell you as an engineer. I'm just a dumb engineer as an engineer. My engineer asked, but as an engineer, I'm just a fucking dumb fucking engineer. I'm an engineer. I'm an engineer. As an engineer, I'm an engineer. As somebody that is an engineer, as an engineer. I'm saying I'm the number one engineer as an engineer. As an engineer. As an engineer, I'm just an engineer. Speaking as somebody that is an engineer, I'm an engineer. I'm an engineer.
It would seem that the further he gets from being an engineer, the more of an engineer he becomes. I have to agree with Nicandros that it looks very strange. It looks even stranger though, if you happen to be aware that in 2014 he made a video where he claims to have worked in video editing, film and TV for 4 years.
If you don't know, I work in the video editing industry, and I work in film and television in general, and in there, I get a lot of work, thank God. I'm a kind of guy who hasn't had a vacation in about 4 years now, because even if I try to have a vacation, I always end up bringing work with me, and while I do have a good time, I do end up working constantly. So for 4 years, I have been pretty much working the whole same job. And
that job, 4 years, 2014. So you were doing that since 2010, 2 years before you normally tell us you started to get interested in editing to begin with. I'll put this one down to him having a stroke or something. He's not the most coherent speaker at the best of times. But there is at least one genuine issue with his career in editing and film that I noticed. You may not have known that Mutahar has a very strong connection to Japan. In August of 2015, he let everyone know that he lived there at some point.
For those of you who don't know, I used to actually primarily work and operate in Japan,
and man, when I lived over there, like, Japan's like a really interesting place, alright?
He's also visited many times for work. Mutahar has made some videos where he talks about real spooky experiences he's had. One of those being when he heard footsteps in Japan. In that video, he also talks about his work there. He explains he went to make a documentary on Aokigahara Forest.
I go to Japan. I have work in Japan annually that I do. If you guys don't know what I do for a living, it's video editing and whatnot, and I work on production work. Now, in Japan, there is a forest called Aokigahara Forest. Now, I'm on there doing a shoot. It's sort of like a documentary-esque look into Aokigahara Forest.
He tells us that he had to trek through that forest, and that he came across clothing which he picked up.
So, as we're trekking through the forest, I come across clothing. Now, the guy who's coming with us, who basically shows us the forest and navigates us through it, tells me that it's fresh. Incredibly sad sight to bear. And I picked it up and I held it for a little bit and I, soaked it all in.
It might be tempting to assume because he's telling a ghost story that this is completely made up. But it's not a fantastical story, it's his IRL ghost stories. And all that happened was he heard some footsteps and got scared. It is presented as truth. And he actually talks about his visit again 3 years later in 2018, when he condemns Jake Paul for his Aokigahara video. And he says something interesting.
Me personally, I have a little bit of history to this, and the reason I'm making this video is because I've been to the same forest, Aokigahara Forest in Japan. It is a very ethereal place, a place where a lot of people die.
And what does he say he did there?
Me visiting there at one point in my life, it is a very interesting place. I never had the entire intention to film it, never did.
He never intended to film there, and he never did film there. When you were there, as you told us before, to film a documentary-esque video on the forest.
But I've never seen any dead body, never seen it, but then again, I never really ventured too far into it. I got to see it firsthand.
You never ventured too far in to the forest you said 3 years ago you trekked through with a small crew. To be fair, he is consistent about never seeing a dead body, which he said before he, would have buried.
Thankfully, the good part about the story is we never came across that body. And it's also sad in a way too, because if I did, I'd definitely give it a fucking burial and whatnot, to honor the dead and shit.
Nevertheless, at least one of these stories must be a lie. I would suggest there's a hint about which one in this bizarre phrasing.
I never had the entire intention to film it, never did.
Never had the entire intention to film it? And the fact that telling people about how you messed around with the clothing of people who recently killed themselves wouldn't be a good look in a video condemning Jake Paul for his lack of respect. Engineer or not, he's certainly told at least one lie about his film career. Anyway, enough of that for now. Let's get back to the claims of being an engineer. While these days he simply peppers his questionable qualification into any coverage he can, a decade ago he was much naughtier, in a way that seems to have never been addressed. Many people don't care if some guy on YouTube is saying he's an engineer, even if he really can't rightfully use that title. But he's done something a bit more than that, a bit more specific. Let's read through an old SomeOrdinaryGamers Facebook post. Out of the hundreds of videos I have made, I personally felt really proud of this one due to the methods of filming it and the finesse I put into making this one. I put finesse in everything, but this video speaks to me personally. As an engineer. Let's get a taste of this masterpiece.
Power this thing on, and you come across a set of flashing lights over here, and you got
beautiful audio engineering, sophisticated framing. Before my whole YouTube channel, I worked in the tech and cybersecurity industry. Cybersecurity industry? Ah yes, the high school job he got from having connections. You'd certainly guess that means something else from reading this though, without that context. Wouldn't you? One of my highlights was being able to test stuff like this. It makes me feel alive, knowing that I can use this YouTube channel not just to share creepypastas, but my love of tech from time to time. This will not be a common trend of videos. Every once in a while I do stuff like this because it makes me feel really alive. Doing an unboxing like this from a company I follow and hold dear to me as a tech enthusiast, I feel honored to be the few to do this, and you all are to thank for it. I would not be here if it wasn't for you awesome people. I personally teared up editing this video because for the first time I've been supported by caring and loving people. And to be at a milestone like this in my life shows that I have the best family a guy could ask for. I wouldn't change anything for the world, and I will always be your same lovable goof. For those who have been here since the beginning or just a few seconds ago, thank you for changing this person's life and making it so much more enjoyable than what it used to be. When all this is said and done, I hope you all know that despite the entertainment that I've provided you all, and for those who say I make them happy, you all have no idea just how happy each and every one of you make me. Thank you for supporting me and allowing me to do videos like this. Heart emoji. So what is this video he's talking about? It's an ad. Oh, just because he was sent something doesn't mean it's an ad, and it's even disclosed in the title that they sent it to him. No, it's a full-on ad. The disclosure of that fact is just hidden below the fold. Muta used his claim to be an engineer to pose as an expert while advertising for Intel.
I myself used to be an engineer before I went into the video editing route. Now, as an engineer, I played around with the latest PC parts.
Not only does he claim he was an engineer, he specifically states that his work as an engineer involved playing around with the latest PC parts. To big up Intel, the company that's sponsoring this video, he claimed to have direct expertise with parts like this. The two jobs I'm aware of him claiming to have had before he started YouTube were the high school penetration testing one and programming bank applications.
I told you guys, I'm a guy who used to code bank applications. Really boring shit.
Which one of those involved playing around with the latest processors and graphics cards? Oh, do you mean you did that in your own time while you were an engineer? But Muta, you like to brag about how little tech you had back then.
I was editing stuff on this laptop and recording stuff here. Now I'm gonna show you guys what this fucking...
Muta, I'm gonna have to ask that you substantiate this claim you made in an advert for Intel, that you were an engineer who, as an engineer, played around with the latest tech. If it's not true, using those credentials to big up a company that's sponsoring you is fucked. In my personal opinion, that would make you a scammer. I have to imagine it's not particularly legal either, but I'm not a lawyer and I'm not going to go into that. It's just obviously bad enough on its own. But harmful, he's a nice guy, he does good things. Yeah, he does. He's a hero in real life, even back then. Let's read a couple of the stories he's told. He once taught a mother how to look after her child. It's okay for kids to ring your doorbell once in a while, but to call you a dried up cunt is pushing it far and above unacceptable. I go to this child's mother, repeat the phrase, and she goes of to defend her kid. Rest assured, I taught her how to fucking parent. If you want to procreate, make sure you are kids, have good values, and learn some damn respect. 'Cause I don't take that shit. Mutahar. Damn, Muta, you kicked that toddler's ass. But he's not just a stone-cold badass. He also has a heart of gold. He's a philanthropist. This may not be gaming related, but I feel it's something to share. This morning, while coming home from my office, I saw a wealthy individual talking down to someone that was homeless, simply for the reason that he made more money and therefore was a better fit to society. I did everything to this man to shut him up, short of getting violent. What, did you let him sniff your poop spittoon? I've been at both ends of the spectrum, but I've never been homeless in my life. I suspect there's another spectrum you're on too, brother. The way some people treat others is absolutely horrible. No one is a better man or woman simply because they have more. So many factors go into that. Money does not define you as a person. I ended up giving this man what he considers a small fortune. $130 in my wallet. The individual was very grateful for it and proceeded to hug me. Saint Mutahar, beloved of the homeless. Now, I didn't give him money simply for being homeless. I gave him money because it was the human thing to do. Nah, Invader Zim, you're not tricking me. Life isn't about living for yourself or spreading some great message or winning a few battles here and there. It's simply about being a good person. It's kind of funny when I say I learned this morals from ordinary video games. But it's true. What, the rising price of AAA, is that why you gave him $130? Okay, look, Harmful, please. It's pretty cringe, but he doesn't deserve this. Think of his health. Think of his heart condition. You know that stress gives him cancer. As he explained in 2014. For those out there, I've had a bad couple of days as of now, and why I've been unable to stream. I have several medical conditions, and although my stress has always been high and this is my coping method for that, I believe family heart issues have surfaced, and I've been cursed with them. I also believe that cancer could be involved as a potential factor in the situation, alongside work problems IRL. Were you telling people you might have cancer because a doctor said that? Or was it whispered to you by one of your sleep paralysis demons? Because it's not a joke, is it, Mutahar? It's not something you should just play around with frivolously.
Your parents probably will also tell you straight up, lying about having cancer is like evil bad, okay? Like, god damn, if you believe in a god, and the devil, you know that this shit is alone enough to send you down to fucking hell and burn there. That's how bad this situation is.
To be fair, unlike Boogie, he didn't say he did have cancer. He just floated that possibility out there to the world for sympathy. And it can be scary. A couple years back, I had to have a scan done, which cleared up there wasn't a problem, but I was spooked, and I talked about it. I talked about what my doctor said and the test I was getting. I didn't say, I believe cancer could be involved in why I feel bad. That would be, I believe cancer could be involved in why I feel bad. That would be, I believe cancer could be involved in why I feel bad. That would be, I believe cancer could be involved in why I feel bad. That would be, I believe cancer could be involved in why I feel bad. That would be, I believe cancer could be involved in why I feel bad. That would be, I believe cancer could be involved in why I feel bad. That would be, I believe cancer could be involved in why I feel bad. That would be, I believe cancer could be involved in why I feel bad. That would be, I believe cancer could be involved in why I feel bad. That would be, I believe cancer could be involved in why I feel bad. That would be, I believe cancer could be involved in why I feel bad. That would be, I believe cancer could be involved in why I feel bad. That would be, I believe cancer could be in Fucking weird. Mutahar, did you have a good reason to say you thought cancer was involved? Or did you just throw it out there for giggles? Careful bringing up the big C word. Sungrand Studios might try to make friends with you. You know, you actually remind me of him. Not because you're brown, because of the suits. No racism here. No Islamophobia. Not even going to mention the now deleted meeting with Al Qaeda video. I don't know what's in that. Probably just an engineering conference. Yeah, this stuff's old. But how old's the stuff he was using just last month to claim engineering credentials? And it's not like he has a degree, is it? His cybersecurity background is a high school nepo job. Remind you of anyone else? He wants to live in the past? I'm merely obliging. And not only that, this is the foundation of his channel. This is the basis of his internet presence. When you see the die-hard fans who love him no matter what, been there from the start, the first million, it's because they've been told he'd die for them, that he loves them, that they're his family. Literally. Disgusting. And this is just what can be found from a brief scan of his career yesterday morning, so I'd have some idea who Mutahar is.